Hey allies, this is Taylor with Iron Allies Fitness. So today I want to go over why you keep failing to achieve your goals. And this is with fitness goals, which is, my area of expertise, but it's also with just goals in life, to be honest. So why is it that you think you keep failing to reach your goals? Like really take a second and think about that. Okay, why do you continue to not end up achieving the goals that you want to achieve, whether it's fitness goals or life? Think about those things. Now, I'm going to tell you exactly why. The reason is you keep quitting. Okay? Yes, you keep quitting, and that is why you do not reach your goals. Because here's the thing, if you actually didn't quit, and quitting has a lot of meanings, I'm going to go through those here in a sec, but if you didn't actually quit or give up, then you would eventually reach the goal. Because think about it, we live in a finite world or space, confined within space and time, right? So everything is finite, meaning it will eventually come to an end. So eventually, you will reach your goals if you simply do not quit. Now you're probably thinking, well, Taylor, I've been trying and working so hard for years to do this. And you probably have been, right? And it doesn't mean that you're not going to achieve that. It's that in some weird way, you're kind of pseudo quitting. You think you're still pursuing the goal, but you're really not. Or you think you're still working on it, but you're really not. So let me explain what I mean. The R stands for rationalization. So what I mean by this is that you're working on this goal, you're working really hard, you're trying to do the things, right? Except some of the times you rationalize or you logic your way into thinking, well, it's okay if I do this, or it's okay if I deviate, or you know what, that I'm not going to pursue that goal because this logical reason makes logical sense why I don't have to do that, right? Okay, so you're basically using logic to the next one, which is these are very closely related. You're using logic to justify not doing the things necessary to reach the goal. Okay, so these two are essentially the same thing. They're just slightly different, right? Rationalization is the mechanism to which you use justification through logic to say why, like, you can't achieve it, or it's not working for you, or you rationalize why you quit, or why you didn't continue to work on it at the level you needed to. Because quitting isn't always like totally giving up. Sometimes it is, and a lot of the times it is. But quitting is like you're quitting doing the things necessary to reach the goal. So you might still be working on your fitness goal, but you've quit doing the things necessary to achieve results, even though you're working on more like basic foundational components, okay? So just like, again, don't use the justification mechanism to say, well, Taylor, I'm working on it, I'm just still not seeing results. Like there's something there for you to discover, right? About how you're logicking your way through this half-assed kind of like, commitment to your workout or whatever other goal you're pursuing, okay? The next thing is excuses, okay? Again, really closely related to rationalization and justification, but you justify through excuses. My car broke down, or I didn't set my alarm, or I'm tempted at work because there's a candy bowl, or I don't have the money, or I don't have the time, right? Like some of the most common things that come up, these are actually excuses. It doesn't mean that you're not correct, that those things get in the way of you seeing results. You're totally valid. Those things will often try to stop you from seeing results. However, you have this thing and it's called autonomy, and you can choose how you handle the excuses. Now, excuses come from circumstances, okay? We all have life circumstances. I get it. It's like I have different circumstances than you. You have different circumstances than I do. Sometimes that's not equally balanced, right? But here's the thing. The difference is we both have a fair chance at achieving our goals, though our circumstances aren't always equal, okay? Think about that. Equality and fairness are not the same thing. We have a fair chance to achieve the goals we want to reach. but the circumstances we're dealing with are not always equal, okay? But it means that you still can, right? If you can get beyond this stuff, okay? The next thing is blame. What this does is it removes the responsibility from yourself and you cast it on something external from you. Whether it is a circumstance or an excuse or an actual person, it's usually a thing, right? Something that got in the way. Sometimes it's people, but we end up blaming other people or other things or our circumstances, and we use that to justify why we're not seeing results or why we quit or why we're half-assing it or why we didn't honor our commitments to our goals, right? Next, P. What was this P for? Pretending. So, what I mean by pretending is you're telling this fake facade or a story, a narrative about yourself, your circumstances. You're pretending that you're actually seeing results when you're not. This is also very closely related to justification. It's like, well, no, I am committed to my goals. I haven't quit. I'm still working on them. I go to the gym. I eat my diet. And in your head, you're like, most of the time, right? But except for those like couple cheat meals and then that candy at work and then that alcoholic beverage, like, or 3 or 10 or whatever, right? Like you're pretending and you're telling this narrative to yourself. You're basically lying to yourself to make you feel like you haven't quit or given up somewhat or all the way on your goal, okay? So stop pretending. The next thing, and this goes hand in hand with blame, is you make yourself a victim stance. You say, I'm a victim to my circumstances, or I'm a victim to that thing that happened, or what that person did to me, or my financial situation, or my an injury, like whatever it is, okay? Or I'm a victim because I have 5 kids and like I don't have a spare moment in the day. And again, I don't mean to like push your buttons and say that that's not a valid reason, which it is valid, but at the end of the day, would you rather be right and correct and valid, or would you rather have results? So like it's a circumstance that is challenging, but it can be navigated if you get creative enough in your mind, if you recruit help, if you recruit support, if you get creative about how you're going to navigate your circumstances, okay? So don't operate from victim stance, because what this does, and it's weird, it's actually ego, right? Like you think, how could Taylor, what are you talking about? How am I being egotistical when I'm being victimized right now? The reason is, when you're in a victim stance, okay, it turns you into a martyr. I don't know if I spelled that right. Someone correct me. Being a victim turns you into a martyr. Poor me, my circumstances have got a hold of me. I'm sacrificing, I'm trying to care for everybody else other than myself. I'm so selfless. It strokes your ego because it makes you feel like I'm a selfless person, I'm a martyr because I'm doing all these things for other people except for myself, and so I'm a victim to my circumstances. And like, frankly, like that's just, I've seen this in myself. I'm not trying to like be, what's the word? Like arrogant about it or whatever. I've done literally all of this a lot of the time and in a lot of different periods of my life. And it ended up causing me to not reach my goals. But when you do the work and you look at like how this is actually affecting you and the fact that you are doing this on some level, frankly, like if you're not happy with where you're at, it's because you're doing one of these things. That's it, right? If you were truly fulfilled and happy in life with where you're at or your fitness or your goals or whatever, you wouldn't be doing any of this stuff. But something is present. If this is really hitting home for you and you're like, man, like I really wish I could achieve X, Y, or Z, look at this stuff in yourself, okay? And I'm not blaming you and I'm not making you wrong about it. Like I'm just letting you know like how it works, okay? The last thing, let's write this down. You could not be doing any of this stuff. You could be like, no, like I'm not rationalizing, I'm not justifying, I'm not making excuses, and you just don't believe that it's possible Okay, so I'm going to put that on here. Meaning, you quit because you don't think you can actually do it. Either from the standpoint of you don't think you're capable, so you don't have the ability. You don't actually believe it's physically possible, like in the laws of nature or whatever. Or in fitness goals, a lot of this looks like blaming genetics, which again, blame, right? But this is just the way I am. This is my body. This is the body that was given to me. I don't believe I can do it. It's not possible. And when you say it's not possible, you're right. Like with that mentality, you write off all future possibility of your goals actually being achieved. So this is all of these ones right here: victim stance, pretending, blame, excuses, justification, rationalization, blaming your circumstances. All of that doesn't even necessarily rule out possibility. It's still saying, hey, I could do this, but I've got this and this and this and this and this, right? This is the hardest one, because if you don't actually think that it's possible for you, you'll never get there. And this is something that you need to address. This really, honestly, is the most important. I don't know why I put it last. It should be number one, okay? Because I'm just really kind of doing this video off the fly. But if you don't think it's actually possible for you, it doesn't matter how hard you try. It doesn't matter what all this stuff comes up. This stuff won't even come up because you probably won't even begin, right? Unless someone helps you along the way. But I want you to look at this stuff in your own life, and especially in your fitness goals too, but look in your other areas of life, because it's all really interrelated when we look at it, right? Like, it's not just fitness and work and family and relationships and, you know, passions or whatever, right? Like, it's all intertwined. So, what is it? What's the goal? What are the goals? What are the achievements? What are the accolades? What are the things, the experiences, the stuff you're trying to achieve in life and in fitness? What are those things? I challenge you to write them down right now. Okay? And I want you to write down this question. How would I word this? In these areas of life where I'm not satisfied, what am I doing that could be considered giving up or quitting? ? Ask yourself that question and look at these different areas. Are you making justifications from a standpoint of logic of, you know, why you're not doing the things necessary to achieve your goals, why you're quitting or why you're half-assing it and you're not doing all the things necessary? What excuses are you making? What are the recurring, and here's the thing is these things happen on a recurring basis. So it's like, I'm just not a morning person. I love that one, right? Like, I'm just not a morning person. I'm not a morning person. Except I get up at 5 or 6 every day consistently now without the snooze button. And it's because that's a story. That's kind of, it's not really victim stance, but it is kind of like a narrative, right? You're making an excuse of, that's just not who I am. I can't do that, right? Circumstances, right? Look at your circumstances and say, okay, yes, here are my circumstances. I have children, I have a dog, I have one car to share, I don't make a lot of money, I have debt, my job works me 50, 60 hours a week, whatever it is, okay? Write down all your circumstances and realize, I'm sorry, you're not a magic snowflake. Everyone else has most of those, if not all of them as well. I don't have a couple of them, but I think there's a lot of other people watching this video that would probably be able to relate to say, yeah, I've got those things too, okay? Who or what are you blaming? Casting the responsibility away. You're basically saying, I'm not responsible, okay? Pretending, what lies, what stories, what narratives are you telling yourself that you're actually kind of believing or convincing yourself, but kind of deep down you really know you're not? What are those things that are recurring stories in your mind about this situation and why you're not achieving your goals? Look at, are you being a victim? Are you giving power to your circumstances to let them control you? Because that's what it really is. When you're a victim, excuse me, when you're a victim, you give away your power to something or someone else. It is up to you to recognize that and recognize yourself as a powerful, autonomous human being with the power of choice. And you can choose to take that back if you allow it, or if you allow yourself to. Okay, so stop being a martyr. Okay? And like I said, none of this even matters. None of these exercises matter until you actually believe that it is possible for yourself. And if you don't think it's possible, that's a hard place to come from. because genuinely you have to change that. So I would encourage you to talk to someone. I don't know if that's a therapist. I don't know if that's a trainer or a coach, a mentor, a family member, a friend. But you have to get in the right mindset to understand that it is possible for you. And sometimes the easiest way is talking to someone who's been there. So try that. Anyway, I hope you guys found this video helpful, and I'll talk to you soon. Leave your comments below. I want to know what you think. Talk to you soon.